We're back on Legends Inside Scoop, and Josh Anderson is with us. He's a Legends Hall of Famer and former Major League player with Houston, Atlanta, Detroit, and Kansas City, and, of course, former Eastern Kentucky University star, and grew up in Pulaski County in Eubank, Kentucky. And, Josh, first of all, good to have you with us.
Oh, it's good to be on here today, Keith. I appreciate you having me.
Well, of course, you're in Pulaski County now, and, of course, back at home, and have recently started a new business, Josh Anderson Baseball Academy, and I want to certainly ask you about that because we're going to be making a visit down there in a couple of weeks. It's going to be a stop on the Legends preseason caravan this year. It sounds like a great spot for us to visit, and we certainly want to meet you there at that time. It's on February the 6th, Thursday afternoon from 3:30 to 5:30, and Josh will be with us at the Josh Anderson Baseball Academy. And first of all, Josh, give me a little background on the Baseball Academy. Of course, there's a difference between players giving some lessons now and then and actually going into the business. Tell me what's involved there and what made you decide to take that step.
Well, we're blessed to, get the opportunity for sure. I was doing private baseball lessons with some kids. I was coaching a high school team last year, a Christian school down here in Somerset, and I started doing baseball lessons at the school, after school for kids, and it just started out with a few kids, and then the word got out. I guess it spread pretty quick, and then I started getting more and more kids, and all of a sudden I had a hard time, honestly, keeping up with the scheduling of all the kids that were coming, after school to do baseball lessons. And I thought, this is something that I, may look into. And I wasn't for sure if I was going to open a business or just keep doing private lessons, on the side at the school there. And then I had a guy approach me about maybe opening up a place and him helping me with it. And so he told me that, and I began to pray about it, just kind of be on the lookout. The more we started talking, I guess one thing led to another, and we ended up going out and looking for a building. And we just kind of put the plan together, and this is what we're going to do. Let's go for it. So we ended up looking around for a place, and just everything just kind of fell together like puzzle pieces. I mean, the building, the instructors that we got down there teaching, just a lot of things. Investors, it just all kind of worked out. So we're tickled to death to be in business doing baseball and softball lessons. We do instruction, and we're also going to have travel teams that represent our academy that go out and play travel league. So it's a lot going on, but it's also been an interesting journey, and we're excited to be up and going. We've been open for about 4 months now, and things seem to be going pretty good.
And we're looking forward to seeing it in a couple of weeks. But give us a little description of the facility. Obviously, a certain amount of space is involved there to have good baseball lessons. But how would you describe it to us?
It's not overwhelmingly big. It's about 5,000 square foot, and we've got 3 tunnels, 3 cages in there, and we got a pitching machine, 2 pitching machines, and it's got tall ceilings in there. So we get, we can do the private lessons. We can do several at one time, and we can also run team instructions in there. So there's enough space in there to, for teams to rent it out and have a full practice. We can't play games in there. Obviously, it's not that big where it's a full-blown field, but we got enough space to do a lot of things. We've had a Christmas camp. We did a Christmas camp over the winter here, and it seems like you can put about 30 kids in there at one time, and that seems to be about the maximum overload of kids you'd want in there at one time. But it's like I said, it's a good facility. It's a nice, clean space. The parents enjoy that part of it. The kids seem to like it. We try to make it a good, fun atmosphere for the kids to come and enjoy and get better. But we're happy with the space.
Talking with Josh Anderson, a Legends Hall of Famer, former Major Leaguer, and from Pulaski County, Kentucky, and talking about the Josh Anderson Baseball and Softball Academy, which is up and running now there in Somerset. And Josh, tell me about individual instruction in baseball. That's something that, as you mentioned in your experience, has really been gaining in popularity. The parents like it, the kids like it. Tell me about how an individual instruction session might go. I assume that depends maybe some on the player's age and their progress, but in general, how do things go?
We do. Kids can get packages where they come in and they buy a package, which means they'll do 8 lessons, and they can spread those 8 lessons over however many weeks they want. They can do 1 per week, 2 per week, whichever works best for them. But we try to do lessons 30 minutes at a time. We do 30-minute hitting lessons, but we will also do hour lessons, just depending on what the parents and what the kids want. Seems like kids day, an hour hitting lesson is a lot of hits. So we like doing the half-hour lessons because it seems like you get more out of the kid, and his focus tends to be better. But, when we do these lessons, we're just really going over some fundamental stuff, basic stuff that every hitter needs and has to do when he's going to, in order to be a good hitter. I think one of the things that I've run into is, I don't know that I was able to teach hitting until I got to playing pro ball, because nobody ever really broke down a swing and why you do certain things when I was a kid. They just said, do this, do that, never really give any detail as to how to go about doing it, or put in clear words that I could understand as a kid. Now that I've had instruction at the highest level, I think that, what that's done for me is it's enabled me to help communicate to young people how to hit, how to get their lower half into their swing, where their hands need to be, just really simple stuff, I guess, to the guys that play professionally. But, it's things that a lot of folks around here in Somerset really never heard it that way. They've never heard it put real plain, simple English for them to understand. So I try to do that. I try to make it very clear, very simple for the kids to understand. And, it's amazing when you tell them how to do something and they finally get it. What brings joy to me is seeing them, do what they've learned and see success come.
Yeah, and I guess in any kind of teaching, a teacher always likes to see that breakthrough moment. And of course, what you're teaching to are the right habits. Even if a kid is working a lot, spending a lot of time trying to hit, let's say, or even fielding fundamentals, if they're doing the wrong things, they're just kind of practicing the wrong things and headed in the wrong direction, aren't they?
That's exactly right. And I think you can go on the internet, you can go on YouTube, and you can learn different drills, and you can kind of learn some techniques from people and coaches on the internet and stuff. But I think one thing I've been blessed with is the opportunity to be around lots and lots of good coaches over my career. And I've also been a student of the game. I used to break down my swing and look at other guys' swings. And so I think one of the things as an instructor of the academy there, you've got to be able to break down the problem when you see it. It's not really necessarily a one-size-fits-all for every swing. Everybody's swing is different. However, we all have to do certain things in our swing in order to have success. And I think one of the things about it is, as a coach, you want to be able to, when a kid's going bad or something's going wrong, you need to be able to kind of pick out what's the problem and then go to fixing it. And there's different drills and different things you can do to fix the problem. But baseball's about repetition. And when it comes to hitting, you've got to really work on it. And, you could be going good for 2 or 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden you have a bad week. But it's just about kind of learning and seeing what it is that you're doing wrong and then go to work fixing it. And it takes patience, but it takes a lot of consistency and commitment to do it over and over, repetition.
Now, instructing, of course, is a little bit different than coaching in a competitive situation in a game, and I would think that maybe that makes parents a little easier to deal with when you're dealing with young people there, because I know lots of times parents they just want to see their kids do well, of course, but some can go over the top with it. But do you generally have pretty good relationships with parents in these situations where you're providing instruction rather than in-game coaching?
That's right. We try to make it a neutral place. We don't represent one school. We don't try to, get kids to go here or there. We just want to help them. And if they come from another school, we got kids coming from Russell County, Wayne County, Casey County, all over different counties to Somerset. And what we want to do is we're a neutral zone for those kids to come and get better and then take what they've learned back to where they're from and utilize what they've learned when they get to playing school ball for their team. And we want to be a place that treats everybody fair and with respect, and we want the parents to enjoy their experience and learn as well. And we want to make sure that we got good customer service, because I think when you treat people good and the kids enjoy being around you and you're encouraging, but you're also training and teaching them the right way, they have a good time and want to come back. And that makes me feel good when kids want to come back to our place. And I think that's when you can kind of gauge how you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Talking with Josh Anderson, Legends Hall of Famer, former major leaguer, and now operating the Josh Anderson Baseball and Softball Academy in Somerset near his hometown of Eubank in Pulaski County. And the website is joshandersonbaseball.com, joshandersonbaseball.com. And check it out, particularly if you're in that area, and see the Josh Anderson Baseball and Softball Academy. And Josh, before we move on, I want a little bit ask you a little bit about your time with the Legends and a little bit more about baseball, your time on the field. Give me a little information as to what parents might need to do if they're interested in lessons or finding out a little bit more about the academy.
The best thing, I guess, is go to the website, joshandersonbaseball.com. We've got the list of our instructors. We show you different packages that we have to offer. A lot of times during certain times of the year, we have specials, and we also have clinics where we do, specific instruction for players, whether it's a catching clinic, a pitching clinic. Sometimes we'll have infield and outfield clinics or base running clinics. So those are something you want to keep an eye on. We always do, scheduling by appointment only. So we want people to know that if you call 679-0503 down at the academy, you just schedule you a spot. We've got a system we'll put you in, and we'll schedule you and put you on a schedule that'll work for you as a parent. And but the best way to do that and get the information is online. And then if you just give us a call, we'll schedule you according to what's good for you. So we'd love to have everyone's business that we can, and we've been growing as time has went on. We've been open about 4 months now, and it seems like the word's starting to get out in these other counties.
And, of course, the Legends Caravan will be down there. Again, that's Thursday, February the 6th from 3:30 to 5:30, and looking forward to get a first-hand look at the Josh Anderson Baseball and Softball Academy. Josh, I've referred to you as a Legends Hall of Famer here a couple of times, and you were with the Legends back in the 2004 season. But if we go back to 2003, and, of course, the Legends were a Houston Astros affiliate at that time, you had spent the 2003 season at the short season club in the New York Penn League and got off to a good start there. So it was, I guess, fairly certain, as much as it can be in minor league baseball, that Lexington was going to be your next stop. What were your thoughts at that time as you finished up that 03 season and knew there was a pretty good shot you'd be in Kentucky in 04?
Well, I was extremely excited. I mean, I guess I got my hopes up really, really high whenever I got drafted. I thought immediately I was going to go to Lexington because I didn't understand the whole minor league system or the chain or how that worked. But I was excited when I got drafted, thinking I was going straight to Lexington. So my hopes were up. And when they told me I was going to New York, I got to be honest, I was disappointed. But I had a great time in Troy, New York. It was a good time, and I learned. And, it got me ready. And looking back, I'm glad I did go to New York, got my feet wet, and then, got the opportunity the next year to move up to Lexington. So, I tell everybody that I couldn't believe that I got a chance to play so close to home. Minor league baseball, it doesn't happen for very often for guys to get to play that close to home. But Lexington was such a great time. Honestly, it went by so fast. It tends to happen when you're having a good time. Time flies. And, it's hard for me to remember all the things that took place in Lexington. But I just remember how good we were treated, how much I enjoyed it, how much I loved the fans up there.
And I guess, too, as far as just a general memory is concerned, just the fact that no doubt many of your family and friends there from home were able to come up and see you play quite a bit, weren't they? Oh,
it was great. Mom and Dad made the trip often, which was good and bad. I worried about them being on the road as much as they were, but they got to come up there. It was an hour and 15-minute drive, and, that's something that, being young and being on the road, keeps you from getting really homesick when your parents can be at a lot of your games. It kind of reminds you of college again. So that made me feel good, and I think that translated into my play. I was comfortable. I felt great being in Lexington, being close to home, and there was just a sense of comfort there, and it translated to being relaxed and confident on the field.
And you talk about that being a rare opportunity to play close to home. All anyone has to do is check our Legends roster from year to year, and the guys are from everywhere, some, of course, from out of the country, but even the guys who are from within the U.S., they can be a long, long way from home for their minor league assignments.
Oh, yeah, minor league baseball is definitely a grind. You have to really sacrifice, and you have to really be hungry to make it because, the long bus rides, some of those guys are away from home almost 8 or 9 months out of the year. Some of them don't get to go back home. I've played with guys from Cuba where they don't go back home. Mm-hmm. So your heart really goes out to those guys. You really feel for them. You start to get a better appreciation and an understanding of the players and actually what they're sacrificing to get to the big leagues. And it's just seems like a glorious time to a lot of fans, but really as a minor league player, you're really grinding it out. And It's when a guy spends time in the minor leagues working, and he puts his time in, and he deserves a chance. But unfortunately, in baseball, not everybody gets the chance to play at the next level.
Yeah, those the numbers game can get very, very competitive as you move on up. But you did have a great half season or so in Lexington, a little more than half season. 326 average and 48 stolen bases in just 73 games here, and those were club records for the season at that time. And you also had a 6-for-6 game back on April 25th in 2004. And while there are many, many minor league games, and I'm sure they all tend to run together in your mind, I would imagine that that one stands out a bit, doesn't it?
Oh, it's the best game I've ever had. I mean, 6-for-6, I couldn't, it was a magical day. As a Sunday afternoon game, my family was there, and we just couldn't believe it just happened. It was perfect timing, too, with Tim Procure in the stands, general manager. It was really a great time for that to happen. And I almost did it again in September. When I got called up in 2007, we were playing the Pirates. I was in Houston and went 5 for 5 and was about to get my sixth hit, and the guy hit me in the back with a curveball. So it almost happened again, but that 6-for-6 is the only one I've ever had, and yes, it will be on my mind. It's something I'll never forget.
And you mentioned coming up with Houston in 2007. I'd like to ask the guys, I've talked about this before, but do you remember the call and getting the call and going up to the big leagues for the first time? Tell me about the circumstances. There's always some travel involved, and everybody's excited, but what was it like for you?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, playing 5 years to get there, and you finally get that call, you just have to pinch yourself and say, is this really happening right now? Because I've dreamed of this, but didn't know if it'd ever come, and then when it comes, it's just out of nowhere. You're not really anticipating, you're not thinking much about it, then all of a sudden you get a call, and I remember the first thing I wanted to do was call my parents, and I made that call, and they were so happy, and I was so happy, and just couldn't imagine what it was going to be like to put on a major league uniform and get to play on TV and play with guys that I grew up watching. But I was excited as anybody would be, really, especially for me. I grew up watching ball. I was the biggest fan of the game as I was anything. And so, you're looking at a guy that went out in his backyard and tried to mimic ball players and tried to, be the guy on TV. I would always try to, that's what I dreamed of doing. And so when I got the chance, it was great. When I got the call, it was my agent giving me a heads up that it was probably going to happen, so he kind of ruined it for me in a way. Mm-hmm. But when they told me, I still was surprised. And
where were you at the time? Was the team at home or on the road there? You were with Round Rock, I assume, right? Is that at that time?
Yeah, we were in Round Rock, and actually Jackie, the manager, Jackie Moore, called me in his office and let me know and surprised me, and it was just. You think you're in trouble. Usually when I got called in the office, it was never for a good thing. Sometimes when you get called in the office in baseball, it's either you need to pick it up or you're getting released or traded.
Right.
So you never know when you go in the manager's office what's going on. A lot of times you don't necessarily get complimented or patted on the back for your job that you're doing, but sometimes it's because the club's making a decision. So I was shocked and very surprised and also extremely happy. Never forget that day.
Talking with Josh Anderson, Legends Hall of Famer who played in Lexington back in 2004 and made his way to the major leagues and now has the Josh Anderson Baseball and Softball Academy in Somerset, Kentucky, which will be a stop on the Legends Caravan on Thursday, February the 6th from 3:30 to 5:30. And Josh, appreciate the time today, and we'll look forward to seeing you on that day when the Legends Caravan is in Somerset.
We look forward to you guys coming down. We're gonna open it up and we want to feed you guys, take care of you, and we hope you guys enjoy your time down here.
Well, we appreciate it, and it'll be here, and maybe baseball and some warmer weather will be here before we know it, too.